name's Jo and I've lived with OCD for approximately 16 years. My OCD is all cleanliness based. If anybody touches these side bits here, I tend to get a wipe and wipe over them. In my mind, it's trying to protect my belongings, my family from germs, just keeping everything clean, just protecting the family really.
Keeping her home germ-free has completely taken over Jo's life. Worried that her phobia is coming between them is Jo's mum, Linda.
I make an effort to go and see her and that, and then you knock and she'll come to the porch door and Joanne will just leave you standing there. And that makes me feel really hurt because I'm a mother and she makes me feel as though it's me then that's dirty. It's just really, really upsetting.
I usually come in, take shoes off. If anyone comes, I usually get really nervous and then start having a panic attack. But up to this mat here is as far, just here, is as far as anybody has really ever been for about 5 years. If my mum comes, she has a pair of slippers and if she sort of steps over the mat, I'm all right with that, it's quite comfortable. She'll stand on the mat, take her shoes off, and I'll put slippers here on the wood. And I'll try and encourage her to stand on the slippers and then come in.
Jo's fear of contamination has got worse and she's now unwilling to let anyone into her home. We've filmed at her mum's house.
The last time I went in Jo's house was 12 months ago. She took my handbag off me and put that on a little mat in the hall. I just don't get asked in anymore.
When she's gone, I usually wipe the settee over. I know for a fact that I make her feel uncomfortable when she comes. I'm thinking, germs in the car, she's sat on her seat and then she's sitting on my seat. I think they just tend not to come now because they know how nervous I get and how much of a panic attack I have, really.
It makes me feel really upset, really, because I feel as though I've lost a daughter in a lot of ways. Because my other daughter, I can just go to her house. Sorry.
Desperate to see more of her daughter, Linda remembers when she started to notice a change in Jo's cleaning habits.
I think Jo's OCD started from when she had her first child, April, with having to sterilise everything, and then I think it just triggered off from there, being, clean all the time. It was just over excessive.
Jo's now a mum of 3, and her eldest daughter, April, is 18.
When I was growing up, I never had anything in the house, like birthday parties or even anyone come round or for a sleepover or anything like that.
They've never had friends in the house, and they've never really had parties or anything. It's just excuses that, they never really wanted one. Well, it's not that, they never really got the chance. And it must affect them. It must really affect them.
I've got a spare wipe, always stays on my door handle for when I come home to wipe my hands before I get in the house. There's one over here for feet. When the children have been to school, they just come in, take the shoes off and get changed because I'm frightened that they'll bring germs in from school.
Every time I go anywhere that's like dirty in her eyes, we have to come in, we have to wash our hands and feet, and then we'll go straight upstairs, get changed and get in the bath.
It is hard for me to control the germs. It's just on your mind all the time, apart from when you go to bed and close your eyes.
For Jo, having such a strong compulsion to keep germs out of her life doesn't just mean a strict home routine. Going to the shops requires some serious planning.
I never take a purse with me anymore. I used to, but now I tend to put my cards in one bag and I sort of keep them in my left pocket. Using one hand to keep this hand clean, and I use this hand to do all the transactions.
She gets the plastic bag out of her pocket and gives the money, and then the wet wipe comes out and then she has to wipe her hands, because she's touched money.
Put my card back in there.
I stopped going shopping with my mum a long time ago because obviously if I touched anything then I would have to have a bath, so I just couldn't be bothered with it. And when my mum goes shopping, obviously she can't touch anything apart from with her hands, otherwise she'll have to have a bath, and she doesn't like having a bath, so she tries to avoid it.
I tend not to get a basket. I just don't want to touch the basket handle. Too many germs on it. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Pop that back in my bag.
People do look at you funny sometimes, but usually she hides it.
In we go. When I've been shopping and I bring it in, I usually have a little mat as near to the door as I can. Just pop it on this mat here. I'll have a wipe ready and some antibacterial spray to try and eradicate all the germs from everything. Spray it over.
Jo's locked into a never-ending cleaning cycle that means she has little time for anything else.
There we go. And then that's fine to go. I'll just dry it off and then wash my hands because this hand has touched that beforehand.
Her best friend, Annette, knows all too well the effect Jo's OCD is having on their relationship.
She's always late because she's got so many different things to try and organise before she leaves anything.
Car keys in a plastic bag. A cover on my car. I just rinse my hand like that.
She constantly has got wipes.
And I wipe my hand.
This time she's come into my house with plastic bags over her shoes because she didn't want to take her shoes off.
Give it a quick rinse again.
She'll only stay for so long. You know it's because she knows she's got to get back and have a shower.
I can't deny that I haven't lost friends because of it, because obviously we used to always go to their houses and, you know, sort of not ask them to come to our house. My husband is affected. But I think he's just gone along with it all because he loves me so much and, sorry. When it first started, I do remember that, you know, he used to say, well, why do you need to do this and what are you doing this for? And, you know, we don't need to do this. And he used to really sort of argue about it and sort of, you know, not want to do it. But he just sort of goes along with it, I think, because he doesn't want to argue with me.
There's times when I feel like she's crazy and like, why can't you just stop it? But I do understand deep down, and I know that it's not her fault, and I know that she must be going through hell every day because all she thinks about is these germs and they're at the forefront of her mind. I know it's hard for her.
Powerless to change her cleaning habits on her own, Jo's reached a point where she fears her OCD could get even more out of control.
I don't know how long I can carry on really like this. My eldest daughter's 18 and life just flew by. And all I've thought about is OCD.
If my mum got treated, I wouldn't really mind about if the rituals went away. I just want her to be happy.
Yeah, good. Yeah. This will change my life because, sorry, I just feel so guilty because of the kids.
For more than 16 years, Jo has been struggling to control her cleaning habits. Knowing that she needs to confront her condition, she's arrived at Speakman Hall with her mum.
We're looking forward to meeting Jo because right now we don't really understand how this started or even the severity of her OCD.
I'm feeling nervous, scared.
Hello, welcome both of you. Come on in.
I need to do this. I need to do it for myself and the kids. It's not going to be easy.
What we do know is that OCD is usually set up as some sort of protection. We need to understand today, what is it that she believes and what do we need to do to get her over it?
Mother of three, Jo from Manchester has lived with OCD for almost 2 decades.
There we go. And then that's fine to go. I'll just dry it off and then wash my hands because this hand has touched that beforehand.
Terrified of germs, she wipes the doors and handles in her home hundreds of times every day and is trapped in an endless cycle of cleaning. Can Nik and Eva help her change this desperate situation?
Hi Jo, hi Linda.
Hiya.
Jo, how can we help you?
I have OCD and I've suffered with it for approximately 16 years. And I just want to get all the thoughts of cleaning and everything else out of my mind permanently.
So what sort of things do you have to do? I can see Mum pulling a face.
We'll come to you in a minute,
We'll come to you in a
Linda.
minute, just wait your turn, yeah.
Everything, just planning to go out, taking wipes out so that I can wipe my hands when I've touched anything, and just trying to protect my home and my car, my belongings, sort of protect my family.
So what rules do you have in your home?
Well, nobody comes in, basically. We don't have shoes on in the house, but we've never done
So you
that.
said no one comes in?
Yeah.
So does that include your mum?
Not often. She comes in occasionally.
How do you feel about that you can't come in your daughter's house?
I don't know, I don't know what the word is, but relegated from being as a family, because, you know, you can't just call and knock on the door and she'll say to you, oh yeah, come on in, Mum, you know, and everything's, have a cup of tea and all that sort of thing. You just stood at the door. I've even been stood there in the rain.
And you don't come
stood at
in?
the door. No.
And how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really upset.
What's wrong with your mum that you won't let her in your house?
It's not my mum that there's anything wrong with. It's just fear of bringing any germs in, I think, really.
And what do the germs do?
I'm just frightened of the germs being in the house. And
What we're trying to understand is we work with a lot of people with OCDs, and when people are frightened of germs, the usual issue with that is the frightened of becoming ill or the family becoming ill. And you mentioned the word protection, and obviously this is what it's all about. You're protecting against a perceived danger. So we get that bit. But what we don't quite understand, Joe, is what you think the germs are actually going to do to you. So if I brought a box of germs out right now and opened the box, what are those germs going to do to you? That's what I want to understand.
I don't know. I don't actually know myself. I just think that I just try to protect the children from what potentially they could bring into the house.
So you're protecting yourself, not your children?
Myself and the children.
But what you're just saying is the children can be outside in whatever germs they choose, but what you won't let them do is bring them into their house to affect you. That's what I'm hearing.
It's not about your children, it's about you.
Right. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the actual germs.
I know you've not seen it that way before, but we just give that chance to sink in a little bit, because that's how it is. Because if you had if you wanted to protect your children against germs, you won't let them outside.
Never really thought of it in that way.
I can see that. Does that make sense?
Sort of.
Would you like a tissue?
Thanks.
Are you all right, by the way?
The question is, when did this start?
I think it initially started around about 16 years ago. And this woman just started to behave weird towards me, and she used to undermine me, and she used to talk to me in a really derogatory manner, and I didn't realise at the time that I was going home and getting changed straight as soon as I got home.
We're almost 17 years
Yeah.
moved on. But looking back, what do you think that you thought in that time where if I change my clothes, this will stop?
I just felt out of control. I just didn't want that in my house. I didn't want anything to do with it, any contamination, anything.
So you felt the clothes were contaminated?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
So seeing as today is about change and today is about truth and honesty.
Total honesty. The only way that Joe's going to change is by seeing the truth.
Yeah.
When did you actually first realise there was a problem with Joe?
April was about 1. So it's about 17.
And what
16,
did you
17 years.
notice, Linda?
And I just noticed things like when she'd taken her out for a walk, coming home from the shops, and this house was on a main road, so you'd only got the pavement and then this main road. She would leave the pram there, take April in, and go and boil a kettle of water, and then come out and clean all the wheels out before the pram could actually go into the house. And I just thought then that was a bit, odd.
So that's how it affected April then, when she was a year old.
Yeah.
How are the children affected now? What do you see?
It's like April, it's hard to say with April because she's 18 and she's lived with it for so long, but I have spoke to her about it, but she doesn't sort of want to commit by saying the wrong thing, I think. She feels...
disloyal.
Yes.
Yeah, and I understand that.
Yes.
And the interesting thing with all Joe's children,
Yes.
they've never known any different.
No.
They've not been brought up and had normality as such, and then seen this go wrong.
That's right.
So their only reference is this.
Yes.
And comparisons they make probably with the school friends. Do they have school friends over?
No.
None of them?
No. We've never had a party in Joanne's house.
You've never had
children? No.
3 children and never had one party?
Joanne hasn't, no.
And how does that make you feel, Joe?
I just love the kids so much, and I just feel guilty.
Do they get invited to other people's homes?
Yeah.
How do you think them being invited to someone's house and then that not being reciprocated, what kind of problems do you think that might cause them at school?
I don't know.
I know that the OCD affects you greatly, but I think it's having a much bigger impact on your children than you probably realise.
And when your children are outside playing in all that dirt and germs, and then they come in the house, how do you make them clean? What do you do?
Well, we don't wear our shoes anyway, so they just take the shoes off as normal.
Yeah.
And then they usually just go upstairs and get changed and have a shower when they come in.
See, I'm
and is that their choice, or do they have to do that?
Well, I ask them to do it. We just go and get changed and wash your hands and when you finish playing. And
could I ask you, Linda, because today's about being open and honest, can you please, not to us, but to Jo, tell her what your worries are for the future if this isn't sorted out?
I'm just worried, Joanne, because we're just not having a family life, are we? I mean, every time I ring you up, it's just excuse after excuse, and you just get... I mean, we get so upset at first, and then afterwards we get angry because we don't realise why you're doing it to us. My house is clean.
I'm not doing it intentionally.
I know, but that's the way we see it, Joanne. I know it's difficult for you as well, sweetheart, but we love you to bits.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to be sorry, but just get right. Yeah? All of us, every one of us, we're behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
You started off, Jo, saying that you do all this for protection. But if you're dead honest, you said to us that you're suffering.
Yeah.
You believed that you set it up as a form of control, but you're now so out of control, you can't deal with it. And if I could just pick up on something that you said, Linda, earlier that I meant to ask. Linda, you said that to Jo that we just want to hug you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that there is no contact, no hugs, no kisses?
Not a lot. If you go to give her a kiss, it's sort of mouth goes to one side and it's a cheek sort of thing.
Because looking at your physiology,
I know.
There's like as though there's an invisible wall between you.
You're all leaning one way and Jo's leaning the other.
And you're leaning that way because you've been a good mum and you're doing it for her benefit. But knowing that you're a mum and that you adore her, that must be really hurting you.
It is.
Because all you want to do is you just want to scoop her up because she'll always be your baby, won't she? What about then, Jo, with can you hug your children?
When we're at home, hug them, kiss them, always tell them I love them.
But if they've not had a shower and not in clean clothes, then you wouldn't, I guess.
No.
So you can hug and kiss your children if they're clean, but if they've been outside, you won't.
I'll kiss them, but not exactly hug them. And...
So going back to the start of this, how they've been outside and you know that they've not just come out of the shower, so they're not necessarily clean, so you don't want any physical contact with them. How is that protecting them?
I don't know.
Is that protecting them?
Probably not.
And
You see, as soon as, the great thing about OCDs is that this whole thing, 16 and a half years of torture that I'm seeing, started with a single thought, one thought. But the great thing is, once you change that single thought, just like that, it all stops. It all stops. And the thought that you had was based on protection. And as soon as you realise what us three are seeing, nobody's been protected. As soon as you realise that, Joe, this is gone.
it's true. The other thing that I just wanted to ask was how, well, there was two things. Firstly, you said you can't hug your children if they've been outside and they're not clean. But you've got obviously 3 children, and I'm sure there's been times where one of them has been outside playing and fallen over and bumped the knee, and they just need a cuddle at that moment.
Yeah, I've always, if they fell over or hurt themselves as being younger, pick them up and hug them, and just, if I need to wash my hands after or
Okay.
deal with that later.
But would I be right? I mean, I don't know, so I'm just asking this question. Do you have a social life?
Not really.
No. Would you like to have a social life?
Yeah.
And talking about social life, I know obviously I'm guessing that it must be difficult if you don't have a social life to have friends yourself. I do know that one of your friends is here today. So we'd like to invite her to join us to see what she sees and how she feels, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
This has been going on since I've known Joe 11 years, but it's definitely got worse, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to have my friend back and we can meet at each other's houses on a more regular basis again.
Annette,
Hi.
thank you for joining us. Well, today Joe's been telling us about her OCD. So obviously you didn't know her without the OCD, so what's your views on it?
She's basically not being able to go places. It's gradually got worse to the fact that we're more telephone buddies than see each other. She finds it hard depending on where she's going, and if it's somewhere new and she doesn't know, then she's worrying, constantly thinking things ahead.
You've got a lot of people that really love you around you, Joe. There's so many things that they want to say and do, but don't because they're protecting you.
So is it fair to say, though, that the longer this has gone on, the more rituals that she has, from your point of view, the worse her life has become?
Yeah.
Mom?
Yeah.
To help Jo overcome her OCD, Nik and Eva have asked Annette and Linda to write down how they feel.
Dear Joe, I value our friendship and look forward to having you back. This is a great big step for you. I'll be there with you all, seeing you happy, less stressed, and enjoying your life.
I love you so much and want you back to hug as any mother and daughter would. Please, please come back to all the family. Oh, my love always, Mum. Will you do that for us? I'll try. Please.
Joe, I know that you've written a letter too, so could you please read your letter?
I'm so frightened right now. I've been for a long time, but really I want to try this for myself, especially my kids and everyone. So sorry. I've been like this for so long, but I can't help it. If the treatment goes ahead and goes well, I hope we can all spend more time together doing OCD-free stuff. Thanks for all your support. Lots of love, Joe.
Everyone around you is just totally frustrated because they love you
So very.
and they just want a normal life.
So, Joe, is today the day? And are you ready to change?
Yeah.
Lovely. Right, well, we're going to go and say goodbye to Annette and your mum, and then we'll make a start.
Okay.
We've given her some home truths in the mediation, and they just don't seem to have sunk in. She doesn't seem to have changed. And I actually think today is going to be exceptionally difficult. We've got almost 17 years of rituals and beliefs, and we've got one afternoon to try and help her. I don't know if we can.
The whole thing is harder than what I expected, really. It was emotional, but I need to do it.
It's blatantly obvious that Joe is in complete denial, and we have got some enormous barriers to break down.
Are you ready?
I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm hopeful.
41-year-old Joe has lived with a compulsive disorder for the past 16 years.
My OCD is all cleanliness based. In my mind, it's trying to protect my belongings, my family, from germs.
Obsessed with cleanliness, she doesn't let people in the house for fear of contamination.
I think they just tend not to come now because they know how nervous I get and how much of a panic attack I have, really.
Alienated from her family and friends, Joe knows her OCD behaviour has to change.
Joe, your first words today were, I've got an OCD and I'm suffering. Well, are you suffering or not?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
germs occupies every moment of every day, then that doesn't really signify happiness. But also there's things that I'm sure that you can't do, you know, that you haven't got the freedom to do because of the OCD. You know, the freedom to like pop out and see friends, the freedom to invite friends to come in, the freedom to touch money. And that must be really wearing.
Yeah.
So just tell me, Eva just brought up the money situation. So what's the problem with money?
I just hate the thought after it's been in my hand. I just hate the thought of it being in my hand, and afterwards I can't stand the smell of it, like coins, the smell on my hands, and the thought that everyone else has touched it, could have been on the floor. Just can't stand the thought of it afterwards. Just feel like I need to just wipe the smell and everything about it away.
When did that start particularly?
I'm trying to think. I can't remember exactly, but that has been something else that's been added on, if you
Recent,
like.
okay.
Yeah, that I wouldn't say recently. That's been going on quite a while.
What was your first recollection of OCD behaviour? What were you doing?
The very first recollection, I think, was when I came home, and initially I didn't used to just get stripped off and just sort of have a bath, have a shower, I'd come home, and I used to get a brand new sponge with antibacterial hand wash and just wipe the back of clothes and dry them over the bearer just to dry off. So
Why-
initially I'd sort of wipe away what I'd thought had been sat on, and then that would be acceptable, and then in the end it sort of
Okay.
escalated to, no, that's not good enough.
Can I give you a scenario? You're in a situation where everything was okay, and then all of a sudden somebody turns on you for no apparent reason. So it shocks your world, and you lose all certainty. So to feel better, you look for something that you can control that can give you some certainty back. Am I on the right path? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yeah.
So it escalates because this situation isn't resolved quickly. This situation goes on for how long?
2 years.
2 years. And in that 2 years, you create this world that, quite frankly, is ridiculous. And it's a prison. And now it's become between you and the rest of the world. So here's the question. What was the enemy and you needed protection from? Is it still in your life, yes or no?
No.
Do you intend to have it in your life?
No.
So what I understand now is you're trying to protect yourself against something and there's no one trying to attack you. And that you don't need protection at all because it finished 15 years ago. Am I right, yes or no?
Yeah.
It's over. It finished 15 years ago. But it all started with nothing to do with germs.
As much as I know that you sort of said, well, I'm trying to protect my family. It wasn't really about that. That was the justification. And you just never stopped. And it's just carried on. It's okay.
Don't apologise for anything.
What are you thinking right now?
Just, I believe everything you say. It just rings so true, and it just seems so stupid. But I'm still scared that I just won't be able to switch off doing things.
I understand. Well, you've had a habit of 17 years.
I get it. I really understand. But the question is, do you need to protect you and your family from anything?
No.
Okay. So what we'd like to do then, because I can see you've changed.
Yeah.
I can see that you've got it. The penny's dropped. We want to show you something else as a demonstration of how germs are literally just everywhere. So just come with us. Joe, this is our little demonstration. Essentially, there's germs on everything. And no matter how much cleaning you do, you can't really avoid them. I've got this powder here. If I can borrow your hand, what I'd like to do is just dust some of this on your hands. And then if you could just rub your hands together.
Nik's powder represents the germs and bacteria we carry around on our hands every day but can't see.
Until you can't see the powder. Okay? Good. Now what I'd like you to do is make a cup of tea. Just boil a kettle.
So we're putting tea bag in the pot, pouring a bit of water, and then we're going to pour the tea in the cup.
Bit of milk and sugar.
Add a bit of milk and sugar. Pour your tea. That's that.
Actually, doesn't look too bad then. So looking at all that and looking at your hands, everything looks clean, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at it in a different light. So Joe, this is a representation of germs. And in fact, you can see them all over the worktop here.
Yeah.
See
There's
that?
the kettle.
It gives you the handle of the pot.
For Jo to overcome her phobia, the Speakmans believe she must accept that it's impossible to stop germs spreading completely.
Does it surprise you seeing that from just having something on your hand, how it can get transferred to every single surface?
No matter how clean your home, we wanted to show you how this is part of life. Things pass, but they don't cause you any harm.
Changing her cleaning habits is going to take some time, but Jo's making a positive start.
Now you've got this knowledge, and now we've identified how this all started. And it started with nothing to do with germs. It started with one person that had a problem with you, and that person has not been in your life for 15 years. So is it time to let go?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can see a real difference in you. Can you feel that?
I feel it.
Okay. Well, we've not finished here. We've got a few more things to do with you, so come with us.
With the treatment session over, Nik and Eva believe the next step to getting her life back is to visit the shop where Jo's OCD behaviour was at its worst.
You ready to give
ready?
it a go?
Yeah.
Come on then.
Come on.
After you.
Do you want me to hold your bag, or are you all right?
I'm all right, thanks.
Do you want me to just grab a basket? How's that feeling?
Weird. Don't normally get one.
Weird's good. Right, let's find the cash machine. Where are we going?
Just straight ahead.
Let me hold that for you.
Just get the card.
Just a few days ago, the thought of touching this keypad would have had Jo reaching for her hand wash.
How does that feel?
Okay. Yeah.
Weird?
Yeah. It's all right. It's not normally. I just want to put it away straight away. Just
And you
normally want to
don't-
put it in the bag, but I'm all right.
Yeah. And what was this about? Do you remember something about good hands, bad hands? What was all that about?
Yeah, I usually have this hand just to keep for cleaning purposes. Yeah, just keep this clean.
So could
that
you
I
put
can-
that in that hand and it feel okay? That's all right too. Showing off now, aren't you? Should we go and do some shopping?
Yeah.
What's Simon treating us to, Jo?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, what should we get him to treat us to?
Well, not this aisle. I want some chocolate.
The chocolate aisle. Do you want Nick to hold the basket for her while you shop?
What, you have to chocolate?
Go on. Help yourself. You deserve it.
How do you feel using both hands?
Feels strange. Does feel strange, but I'll get used to it.
But not in a bad way, strange, just because you've not done it for such a long
Yeah,
time.
because you're that used to just doing that one and not that one.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
What would normally happen now?
Normally, I'd have a plastic bag with money in, and this would be my clean hand, and I'd just keep that clean and just take the money out and then put it back in.
So could you pay with that hand?
Yeah.
There's £2.
Thanks very much.
5.7.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go that way. Hey, how good are you? Fabulous.
So far, so good. But Joe's next challenge is to serve behind the counter.
Hiya, I'm Jo. Is it alright if I help you out?
You can, if you want.
Can she prove to herself that she's able to leave her old habits in the past and move forward with her life?
Gotta pull off your head.
Go. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Right, thanks a lot, John. I think I can put money in both hands, and thanks a lot. See you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, really proud of you. You've done stuff in there that you've not done for years.
I know.
And you're using both hands, and you shop with both hands, and you're not bothered. That's amazing. Do you feel the difference?
Oh, so proud of you, Jo.
Yeah.
So proud of you.
Mum of three Jo has spent 16 long years trying to live a germ-free existence.
Just here is as far as anybody has really ever been for about 5 years.
Her battle with bacteria is a daily struggle.
And then that's fine to go, just dry it off and then wash my hands, because this hand has touched that beforehand.
Before today, the idea of being in a public place made Jo anxious about picking up germs.
Using one hand to keep this hand clean, and I use this hand to do all the transactions.
With Nik and Eva's help, she's no longer worried about contamination.
Did you put that in that hand and it feel okay? That's all right too. Showing off now, aren't you?
Now she has the chance to prove to her mum and best friend that she's no longer allowing OCD to rule her life.
Look who's here waiting for you.
Smell. Hiya. How are you? Can I look?
Can I?
Oh,
Yeah. You've been all right? Yeah.
How's it felt?
You've been good without us.
She behaved herself perfectly.
For Jo, controlling her OCD is going to take some time. But she's starting to change her behaviour and get her life back.
What's the dirtiest place you can get? Pigsty.
Well, everybody says, don't they, if your house is dirty or whatever, they always say it's like a pigsty. So I thought, we've just got to.
Right. Yeah.
We've just got to.
So this, right here, is the ultimate test.
Yeah.
We've had a good day, haven't we? Yeah. She's done some great things. I'll tell them, I'll ask any questions.
Come in here for a start.
Come in here.
Yeah, been in the shop.
Been in a shop. She had money in her hands.
You had it in your hands?
Yeah, both hands.
Both hands, wow.
Can you not say she's totally changed?
Yeah, I can. This just seems... It looks more radiant, actually.
How do you feel about going stroking a little piglet?
Oh, have a go. Yeah. Give it a
Okay.
whirl. Better not bite me.
It won't.
But you're glad you put wellies on now, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Hello. Hey, babies. Come here. Hello. Hello. Bit nervous, aren't we?
Hello.
It's just looking good.
So, Jo, are you using both hands there? Because...
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
she's two-handed
Hey,
stroke now.
I'm just checking.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
She's
Frightened
a
of
big
that.
girl, isn't she? Get off me wellies, you. That's my Wellington boot.
So, Jo, you didn't expect to do this today, did you?
No, I
You
didn't.
stroke pigs with both hands.
Yeah.
Do you want to go for the ultimate? The ultimate test, and that's shoveling some poo in that wheelbarrow.
Oh, we'll go.
Are you up for it?
It's a good sport, isn't she? Let's get you
A shovel.
a shovel.
See, because I know if you can shovel pig poo into that wheelbarrow, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you.
Don't splash it, Joe.
Lovely.
So tell me what's going on when you're doing that.
She's cursing you, Nick's feet.
Yeah.
I know you're cursing me, I know.
Yeah, it is horrible, but
But what? But
it's not going to hurt you.
well done.
You alright?
She's taking it in a stride.
I know she is. I know.
She's just not bothered.
No, I think she's calmer than I am.
Yeah.
I'm so, so, so proud of you. Amazing.
You've done really, really well. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave you three to it, just to
Yeah.
clear all this up, if you don't mind. And we'll get on.
Thanks very much. Bye.
Great, isn't it?
Bye.
Oh, they're lovely.
Joe came to see us this morning with a terrible OCD to germs, and through the day, we've had her in a shop, not even remotely troubled by the fact that she's touching a shopping basket. We've had her touching money, taking money out of a machine, and then to conclude, we've had her in a pig pen, clearing it out, which is fabulous.
Hey. Wonderful.